Hello, friends and neighbors. My name's David Kay, and welcome to my 20-year Philippine journey. I wanted to make a series of videos, not real long in length, because you don't have a lot of time, and I want this channel to have a lot of videos that are topic-based, so that you can get an idea on a particular interest that you have, rather than listen to me talk for 3 hours. I don't know how Joe Rogan does that. Listen to me talk for 3 hours, covering a bunch of topics that might be interesting, but maybe you don't need right now. Plus, it's a long time to sit down and discuss 20 years worth of Philippine experience in lengthy videos. So I want to start with simple videos that are topic-based that you can search through and find out what you need to know. And then, of course, in your leisure time, if you want to learn about the legal system or you want to learn about other issues that you face here in the Philippines as a foreigner, naturally those videos will be available in time. So today, let's talk about you coming to the Philippines as a foreigner. Now, if you're coming here simply as a tourist, this is going to have some very useful information for you. If you're planning on retiring here, or you're moving here, you're coming here to stay for a long period of time, that's where these videos start to get pretty darn useful, okay? So first of all, I am an amateur, so let me get my camera straight. That way we don't all go crazy. And my blank wall. All right. Okay, first of all, what do you want to bring with you when you first come to the Philippines for the first time? Okay, the first thing that goes through your mind is you're going to need some money, okay? Now, obviously, this is a third world country. So there are some certain things that you need to keep in mind when you're dealing with money here in the Philippines. One, you're allowed to bring in with you to the Philippines the equivalent of 50,000 Philippine pesos. Wow. Now, see, a peso right now is around 56 to a dollar. Now, this is August 26th of 2024 on the day of this shooting. So 56 to a dollar, you're allowed to bring in 50,000. Let's just call it around between $850 and $900. Okay, if you bring in more than that, you need prior approval from the Central Bank of the Philippines, which you don't have to mess with, okay? So that's what you can bring in one shot with you when you come through customs and immigration, okay? $800 to $900. Honestly, that should last you for several days anyway, if you have any idea what you're doing, okay? And I'm going to try and steer you along here as best I can. That much you can bring in, it's not going to be a problem. By the way, I'm sorry about the ambient noises here. This is the Philippines. There's no air conditioning, so the door is open, and I've got a fan blowing here, so I'm comfortable. Plus, I have a nice cold adult beverage. Not refrigerated in the Philippines, but they do have a lot of ice. So, adult beverage with ice. Okay, bring some money. Go ahead and change when you get to the airport. You land in Manila. Change maybe a couple of $100s. The exchange rates at the airport are not going to be very good, okay? Because why? You're a tourist. They see you coming. They know you need the money, supply and demand. They have the money. You need it. They're not going to give you a great exchange rate, okay? When you get out of the airport the next day or 2 days later, you can go to most shopping malls, department stores even, and you can get a much more agreeable exchange rate from a reputable money exchanger. Even Western Union doesn't have phenomenal exchange rates, but probably better than the airport. And we do have Western Union here in the Philippines, so that's also a way to get more money brought in, is by perhaps Western Union having it sent to yourself. If you don't have a banking partner here that can where they can wire the money from your U.S. bank to the Philippine bank, that's relatively inexpensive to do that. The exchange rates at the bank are market rates, so you can't really lose there too badly. So there are several ways to get money here. Your ATM card will also work, okay? So if you bring your U.S. ATM card from, Bank of America or whatnot, you want to plug it into an ATM machine here, you can go ahead and withdraw money. The problem there is going to be that your withdrawal limit is going to be 10,000 pesos per transaction. Now they're going to charge you $4 to $5 on this end, and then your U.S. bank is going to charge you another $4 to $5 on that end. So if you figure, you can imagine a $10 transaction fee for using your ATM card to withdraw a maximum of around $180. That's going to be what you're up against if you're strictly using your ATM card. So you need to be aware of that. And beggars can't be choosers. And if you're here and you need the money, I think that's kind of expensive myself. It's probably 7.5% that you're paying for the transaction fee if you're withdrawing the full $180. But if you need the money, you need the money. What are you going to do? Most places here that you would check into do accept debit cards. The grocery store accepts debit cards. So a lot of your shopping that you can do around here in the Philippines, if you're staying in the main areas, you're not getting too far out into the jungle or something. Most places around here, especially in the tourist areas, Metro Manila, things like that, Cebu City, Davao, places like that, you can go in, they will accept a debit card. Now you still have to pay the foreign transaction fee, which is probably going to be charged by your bank, right? But nevertheless, it's a way to go, all right? Probably cheaper than withdrawing the cash and then spending the cash, all right? Now the second thing you need to think about when you come in, okay, so let's go ahead and put a cap on money for now, okay? We can talk about other ways to get money later, but when you're first coming here, that's one of the ways you're going to need to finance yourself, all right? All right, let's talk about what you're going to bring in the way of clothing, okay? Now, this is a tropical country. You're near the equator. Every day in the Philippines is going to be between 80 degrees and 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, I'm not a Celsius boy. So if you're from the UK, you're going to have to figure that that's warm to hot. Somewhere between warm and hot every day, okay? And it's always going to be sticky because the humidity level here is really, really high. In the rainy season, which typically starts in the U.S., what we call our fall and winter, okay? It's going to rain almost every day. And sometimes it's going to rain, and when it rains here, it can rain torrentially, okay? So bear that in mind. Having a plastic raincoat or something, if you can wrap it up really small and put that in your bag, might not be a bad idea if you're coming during the rainy season. Obviously, you can buy an umbrella once you get here for a couple 100 pesos or 100 pesos someplace. That's $2 or $3, not the most expensive thing in the world. So you can always do that. When I first came here, I flew in here from Portland, Oregon in November. I think it was snowing in Portland at the time, and I was wearing a parka.
What?
Wow. Perfect for Portland. Not perfect for Manila, right?
Oh,
so I got off the airplane, and I felt like somebody hit me with a bucket of hot water. The moment the plane door opened and I stepped out, and here I am with this big parka. Naturally, the first thing I want to do is take it off, but now I've got to lug this big parka around with me everywhere I'm going, right? Should never have done it. That was the first and only time I ever did that. If you have to do anything, wear a really light, like a windbreaker or something like that. Be brave running from the car to the terminal. If you're leaving New York or something, just brave it, okay? You'll make it. You won't die. Get all the way into the terminal. It's relatively warm in there anyway, and then you'll never have to worry about carrying that thing around again. You'll actually take off the windbreaker, shove it in your bag, and you'll never see it again for the entire time you're here. So you don't need to bring any heavy clothes. Obviously, you can bring sandals, you can bring shorts, t-shirts. I wear jeans a lot because I'm comfortable wearing jeans, even if it's hot, so I'm fine with that. If you're going to be going out into the jungle areas or you're going out into the provinces, I would recommend bringing a pair of long pants with you, casual long pants, and some good walking shoes. You're going to be doing a lot of walking in the Philippines, okay? Especially if you're out in the province. You're going to walk here, you're going to walk there, you're going to walk somewhere else. If you're a lady, you don't want to wear a lot of high heel shoes because you're not going to see a lot of pavement if you get out of the main city. You're going to see a lot of grass and a lot of dirt roads. I would bring a really nice pair of sneakers, and if you're going to go to church on Sunday and you want to dress up a little bit, bring a pair of dress shoes. I wouldn't pack heavy on that kind of stuff. Again, it's going to be hot, so you want to dress comfortable more than anything else, and don't bring a bunch of heavy weather gear that you're going to need to lug around. It's just heavy and it takes up a lot of space. It makes no sense here. Okay. Next thing I want to tell you about is the electricity here. Okay. The electricity here is 220 volts coming out of the wall. So unless you're bringing your clothes dryer or your electric range, right, you're going to need to make sure that whatever it is you bring here has a 110 to 220 volt capability to it, which means you need to look on the plug, and on the plug it should say 110 to 220. If it says 110 only, that's not going to work here. Okay, you're going to plug it into the wall, it's going to fly across the room, and the smoke is going to come out. And everyone knows that electronics run on smoke. How do we know this? Because if the smoke ever comes out, it never works again. So make sure that your electronics have that dual voltage adapter on them, and at least be aware. You know, when I first came to the Philippines, I actually lugged in a desktop computer because I was here opening my business, and there was a switch on the back of the computer that said 110 to 220. I happened to notice it. Had I not noticed that, I could have plugged that computer in and fried the power supply. And then now where am I? I'm at the computer shop for the next 3 days taking advantage of. So make sure that your power supplies are all compatible with 220. All right. The other thing is here, the most of the plugs are either two round I don't know what you call them, round prongs, or up and down slotted prongs like we have in the U.S. If you come here with those 3-prong things, okay, they're not going to work in most plugs here. Bring an adapter, okay? Because the plugs here are 2-hole plugs, by and large, everywhere you go. Maybe in a high-end hotel they've got that option, but anywhere else, not really. So make sure you're prepared for the power when you get here. I'd hate to see you show up and you don't have any way to charge your phone, okay? Oh, by the way, your phone's not going to work here anyway, unless you get on a roaming plan that covers the Philippines, in which case it's going to be insanely expensive. So as a side note, and I wasn't really going to cover that here in this video, but be prepared once you get here to take your phone after you're out of the airport. You don't want to deal with the people hanging around the airport. Okay, they can promise you the moon and the stars and deliver you something comparable to the cost of the moon and the stars. Get out, get into a more local area, and then you can talk to somebody about having your phone converted to a Philippine cell phone. If you're going to be here for any extended period of time, it's going to save you a bucket of money. It might cost you $20, okay, to say, I need my phone to be compatible. What they're going to do is unlock it for you, and they can do that here relatively inexpensively. The phone shops here are amazing regarding their abilities when it comes to phones. They can take these phones apart and reassemble them any way you want. These places are quite amazing when it comes to phones, and not very expensive. So they know how to do it, and you want to get a Philippine SIM card. Check your area where you're at and make sure that you're getting a SIM card that has a good, strong signal strength, or from a company that has a reputable strength in that area. Okay, and when you go to a phone shop, they're going to have SIM cards and phone numbers from probably 5 or 6 different cell phone companies right in the cabinet there. So talk to them about it and say which one is the best one for this area. Maybe talk to your taxi driver even. What do you recommend signal strength-wise around here? They'll be able to tell you. Talk to someone who doesn't have an interest. They'll tell you the truth about it, okay? So plan on doing that within the first couple of days, unless you want to come home to a $750 phone bill, which could happen. All right. Next thing you need to concern yourself with is you need to be bringing a passport. Now, I know you know this already, okay? But in the Philippines, when you land, you're allowed to stay in the Philippines without a tourist visa for up to 30 days. Usually they issue you a tourist visa when you land at the airport. Now, the tourist visa, it's a little confusing. It says you're allowed to stay up to 59 days, but there's the stamp generally has a 90-day expiration on it, which is a little bit contradictory. I haven't seen a lot of people have a problem between that 59th day and that 90th day. It's just basically, up to 3 months. I think they're just trying to be a little bit vague on that, but nevertheless, you can stay for up to 90 days. If you need to leave the country or you need to extend it, you can go down to immigration. They can extend it for you, I understand, for up to another 90 days, okay, on a tourist visa. All right? Now, you need to make sure of a couple of things. Your passport has to have at least 6 months worth of validity left on it, or they won't authenticate it. They won't give you the visa. All right, so that could be a problem. Don't get caught with your pants down on something stupid like that. Just make sure your passport has that 6 months validity time on it, so that they don't give you any hassles about giving you that visa, because they won't do it, and they don't care if you're inconvenienced and have to turn around and fly back to wherever it is you came from. They don't care. All right, so make sure that you've got that on there. And also, if you're here on a tourist visa, you have to make sure that you show them your return trip ticket or your forwarding trip ticket. And it doesn't hurt to show them also that you have a hotel reservation. Okay? So have a couple of those things handy with you in your carry-on, not in your checked luggage, because the last thing you want to do is sit there in the middle of a busy terminal, opening your bag and trying to sort through, underneath your ladies' underwear and your whatever else you have stuck in there, right? You don't want to be sorting through all of that right there in the middle of the terminal, right? So you want to have that in your bag, your travel documents all together, your passport, your round trip plane ticket, your hotel reservation right there in your travel bag, okay? And I recommend keep most of your things secured to your body. You don't want to have a lot of loose items. You're going through a busy airport. You're going to be encountering some shady people in some really interesting places. When I first came here a couple of times, I actually had one of those pouches that goes around your midsection underneath your shirt. Not a bad idea, especially if you're walking around and you don't know where you're at or whatnot. You don't want to become a victim of crime. A little bit back to our topic on money, you need to be very smart when you're handling your cash here in the Philippines, okay? Frankly put, a lot of people here in the Philippines work full-time and make $200 a month. And if you're flashing, 10 times their monthly wage around, you're just asking for trouble, all right? I saw a funny video one time where a guy got mugged in New York City, and his girlfriend said, "Oh my God, did they get all your money?" And he went, "I got my mind on my money and my money in my shoe." So no, they didn't get all of his money. And that's kind of how you want to be here. Have enough money in your wallet, like maybe a couple of thousand pesos, $50 in your wallet, and keep the rest of your money stashed somewhere else where nobody can get to it easily, even you. All right? You can always go into a bathroom here. They call it a CR, a comfort room. You can always go in there, go into a toilet stall, lift your shirt, and get out a couple of $100 if you need it, right? So just be mindful of how you handle money here. What else do you want to bring? You're going to want to bring, if you're from the Western countries, toilet paper. I know this is kind of a funny thing to say, but a lot of the toilets here, a lot of the restrooms here, especially even starting in the airport, if you go into the bathroom, you need to use the bathroom, there's not going to be any toilet paper handy. Have some with you. I'll show you what I bring. Already took it out. Here. See that? That started out as a roll of toilet paper with no core. You don't need the cardboard core. If you have toilet paper, you can take out the core. You're not going to need it. Smash it flat, and you can put it in your pocket, or you can put it in your travel bag, or you can put it anywhere. And then if you need it, you got it, right? It's great for blowing your nose anyway if you need that. Okay, so you're in good shape. And then, of course, I want to end this video just telling you to be mindful about safety. Obviously, like any big city in the U.S., Manila, if you're flying into Manila or Cebu, you're flying into a big city, all right? And you look like a foreigner, which means you look like you have money. Again, keep your money safe. Don't flash your money around no matter what you do, all right? Always, and don't wear the Rolex. You don't need that. Don't wear gold chains. You don't need those, all right? Don't wear your big fancy diamond rings. You don't need that, all right? You can wear your wedding ring. Nobody's going to say anything about that. This watch here cost me $18, right? Has a picture of Sweet Thing on it. Yeah, nice. Yeah, smartwatch. Okay, tells you the time. You don't want to draw attention to yourself when it comes to money, all right? You just don't. And keep that money safe. And obviously, like any big city, you don't want to walk into dark areas. You don't want to get into, I call them red light districts that aren't well patrolled by police, that don't have a lot of security around, where you can be easily taken off into a corner by somebody who says, "Oh, hey, buddy, come here, I want to show you something." Don't go, all right? You're going to find people on the street trying to sell you things. It's up to you. Unless you have some experience here, I wouldn't do it. Just say no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you. Always be very polite. And I'll part with this. In the Philippines, there is no First Amendment. You have no freedom of speech here. So if you don't have anything nice to say, just be quiet. Yes, you can get arrested for insulting someone. It's called verbal abuse. And Filipinos are very, very, very sensitive, emotional people. Some of them, most of them, pretty much all of them. So you're going to want to make sure that when you talk to people, you just smile, you're polite. Even if the situation seems testing of you, just be nice. All right? You don't want to say anything that could be taken out of line. And also, don't joke around that much, unless it's just, you can't help yourself. Why? English is a second language here. Even if you're talking to someone who speaks great English, everything you say, they need to translate in their brain. And by the time they've translated your joke, it's not really that funny to them anymore. Any joke that you have to translate into another language is just not that funny. And it's easy for them to take you seriously. It's easy for them to take you seriously because by the time they translate it, they don't know it's a joke. All right? So you can get into some trouble, or you can insult people or cause people to have hurt feelings if you tell a joke that they don't understand. Okay? So I wouldn't tell that many jokes. Just don't do it. So even if you have a great personality, laugh, smile, have a good time, enjoy yourself, stay in well-lighted areas, stay where you're supposed to stay, use a lot of common sense. Don't say a lot of things that could be taken as controversial or out of context or even jokes that they might not understand, and you should have a really good time. So in this video, we touched on what to bring to the Philippines. We touched a little bit about money. We touched the safety issue. And then the last thing I want to touch before I let you go is do make sure you have your accommodations booked online prior to getting here. Don't get here and then ask a taxi driver, where do I go to get accommodations? He will make sure you get the most expensive place that his friend works at that you've ever heard of in your life. And that's the, let me add on one more thing here. When you get to the airport, you need transportation. I recommend, if you don't know anything about Manila, you don't have nobody meeting you at the airport, you don't know what you're doing, all you have is your hotel that you booked, get into a yellow airport taxi. They're yellow with black letters on the side. They work for the airport authority. Most of them are a little bit more expensive than your regular street taxis or commercial taxis that you see buzzing around. They're certainly more expensive than the tricycles and the Jeeps and all of the other things that the locals use, but they will get you where you need to go. All you want to do is take a look at the meter, and it has a timer on it. Make sure that the meter is timing in proper seconds. If it's going on speed dashes from like 20 seconds to 40 seconds every now and then, tell the driver something is wrong with your meter, can you fix it? He knows how to fix it, okay? But you don't typically have that problem with airport taxis because they're regulated by the airport authority. So those are the things I want to leave you with today. What to bring. I want to tell you a little bit about money, clothes, your safety, your visa, your passport, your accommodations, and toilet paper. Okay. Thank you, guys. The next video, I'll go into a little bit more about what you're going to experience with the food and the day-to-day transportation issues as you travel around the Philippines. Until then, we'll keep the light on for you. Cheers. As always, I appreciate a like and a thumbs up, and I would really love it if you would subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot more interesting videos coming up, and you're going to love them. Looking forward to seeing you on those. Cheers.